All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to What the Fuck? Oops, censor was too late. Don't pay that censor enough. Oh my gosh, what a Wednesday. Hope you all are doing fine. We had another nice thunderstorm come through here a couple hours ago. I was working on the Linux side of things. I don't know what it is. Actually, I do know what it is. I think I'm going to piss a lot of Linux people off, but OBS is much better on Windows than it is on Linux. The camera, the same lighting setup that I came up with over on Linux, looked darker and all that, and I couldn't get it right. And then the using easy effects because over on the Linux side, I'm on Endeavor OS, I'm on GNOME. It is a Wayland desktop, and you can't get VSTs to work. It's a little bit has to do with the Chromium Embedded Framework. You try to open up the docs for VSTs, and either OBS will crash or they just don't work. So I rely on Easy Effects to do voice changes and that. So I'm trying to get the mic just right. I know either I'm being really picky or I'm not listening really well to how the sound goes. But right now the camera looks better than it did with the same setup on my Linux thing. So don't know, if it's Endeavor, whatever. Oh gosh, I put down Linux and Cubicle Nate shows up. What's up, buddy? How are you doing? I'm gonna shout out. Go check out Cubicle Nate. They should set up your thing for the Linux Saloon. He does stuff. He does Linuxing on Saturday nights with the Linux Saloon. It's a 2 hour thrill ride of everything that's new in Linux, testing distributions, talking about things in tech, having open mic nights. So if you are around, it's 7 p.m. Eastern Time, US, which would be -5 UTC. He's 8 p.m. my time. You don't care if you put down Linux. I know because you're like Steve again. Da 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 da. We'll see how long my head's. I only got 40% left on my Bluetooth things and that. So um no, trying to get a good voice profile in Easy Effects has been a challenge. I had it going okay, but something in the last couple of weeks, something I don't know. I don't think I changed anything in my regular mic voice that I use through Easy Effects. But man, that was just. Then this morning, my wife wakes me up. She had a training class, and she was putting up the directions to go there because she doesn't have a smartphone, and so and her laptop wouldn't print. I know I set up printing on it. I went down and checked it out. So 8 p.m. Eastern time. That's right. I'm backwards. Don't mind me. Thank you, Nate. It's 8 p.m. Eastern time, 7 p.m. Central time. Still it's -5 UTC because I'm -6. Let's listen to something different. If you're over on, well, come over on YouTube. We're going to listen to some Japanese rock, I think. Is that what this was? Ambient Music Japan. Just something different. I need something to chill me out. So we'll see what this is like. And of course, I got a burp YouTube on the. Where are you? There we go. And I did notice yesterday, I don't know why I had the music a little bit too loud for the background music. So yeah, so there was no on my wife's laptop, which I have her on Endeavor OS XFCE desktop. I know I put. She was printing stuff up the other day. Sometimes she prints when I'm streaming on Sunday mornings. Couldn't print anything. There were no printer functions on. I'm like, what is going on? So I had to reinstall and reinitialize printer on her laptop. Then, so it must be an Arch thing today. Then the laptop that I have monitoring the stream over here is all of a sudden it boots into a 640 by 480 mode. Doesn't have an NVIDIA card in there. Ran an update, went pretty quick, and booted into it fine. I'm just tired of stuff. So today I'm on the Windows setup because it just works. So did you get the storm after we did, Nate? Or did it dissipate? It was a good thunderstorm again today. Endeavor's Arch base, so expect the unexpected. Yeah. I'm finding it with every distribution that I'm getting. You're getting a storm now? Just don't go climb any of the poles, just don't. I'll be mean. I'll hand my son something like a rod or something. Go run outside. What? Are you crazy? Yeah, I'm a bit crazy. I'm a father, so I am crazy. But he's at karate for about 2.5 hours today. He helps. He's a fourth degree black belt, so he's got to help teach a class, and then he's got 2 classes of his own. He's got his sparring class, and then he has his regular black belt class. So mom goes with the mom's going to the library. Then she had it said she had a training class this morning, and it took her like about 40 minutes to get where she needed to go this morning. But because of the storm this afternoon, it took her like an hour and a half to get home. And I remember those days. And she's got 3 days, so she's got 2 more days of this. Hopefully no more storms. Excuse me. Oh. So, yeah, yesterday in the chat, Nate, Michael stopped by and said hello. And he was telling me about a video they posted. And I remember him doing the, was back several months ago. It might have been right before his accident. It was a Q&A. And I jokingly asked, does a beard make it easier to Lennox or something like that? And he added that question in there. I watched his video last night. I remember that. That was back because I remember I was I had taken my father-in-law for one of his treatments. He was going to University of Chicago Medical Center, which over in Chicago is over on the lakefront, and I would pick him up and then take him and then be there for several hours. So I bring my tablet, and Michael happened to be on live, and you know me, I don't go in these chats to troll. But I did. I trolled. And I don't know if you remember him because he hung out more with Carmine. He actually goes by the name of Sir Seuss because he has been using OpenSUSE for a while. But his name is Paul. I guess he had a real bad stroke a couple years ago. Yeah, me? No, never. Troll. Oh my God. Yes. Now I'm getting the battery low message on my head. Oh, crap. The last time I turned off USB and turned it back on, it's killed the stream. I hate Bluetooth. Bluetooth sucks in Linux and Windows. There you go. You got it. All right. let's see if I can switch here. Let me get my other headset. I didn't want to wear my big headphones, but of course I don't. I guess I can do it. Plug in the jack and use that way. It's just if I have to get up and walk around, it's nicer having a wireless. All right, so give me a minute. Hopefully the stream nothing happens because I know sometimes it will crash OBS. So, because this will go out soon. All right. That one's off. So far, so good. Let me go to Bluetooth settings. Okay. Let's see if I can get this one to work without causing any problems. All right, so far so good. Ah, yes.
My spidey sense is tingling.
Oh. Thanks, Nate. Slip that one in, you sneaky bugger. Michael actually ran some commands yesterday. He did the VHS pause, and then it's like, what did that do? I said, it for a minute. I have no sources on it, so no microphone or anything. So when it's like pausing a VHS, so there's no sound except the hum of the tape pausing. But thanks a lot, Nate. I'll remember that. I'll remember that. I spent the last couple of days, so I was telling the story of the computer I gave my father-in-law. It's a HP Compact 8200. Your typical old style, your workhorse business computer that you see. Oh no. No. Oh, I gotta. That's right. Because I had a change from my Droid Cam. Because my Droid Cam. helps to be on the right scenes. But I got to fix some scenes because I went from my Samsung S8, which kind of finally hit the bit of dust, to using the Logitech 920. And I got to redo a couple of the transitions. I did a couple of them. I forgot about that one. You didn't quite break it as much as I didn't fix it. So anyway, my brother-in-law had given me a bunch of computers. I had done a video. I really didn't do what I said I was going to do in the video. I had gotten a couple of the 8200s. I gave one to my buddy Joe and a couple of laptops, and then I gave the other 8200 to my father-in-law. And so it's close to about 10 years ago. So I think my brother-in-law gave them to me in 2016-ish. I'd have to look at when I recorded that video. So it's about 10 years ago. And originally I had put Peppermint on there for my father-in-law. And then when Peppermint went, I moved to Pop! OS for him because it had the automatic updates and I never had a real worry about him updating. Well, the sad part is back in April, my father-in-law passed away. And his wife, my wife's stepmom, said that she didn't want it anymore because she uses her iPad. So I took it home, cleaned it out. That's one thing I didn't do over the years. Because when I gave it to him, it was spotless on the inside. And when all the vents and that were caked with dust. But it's still a very quiet machine. And those old compacts, the HP compacts, were so easy to work on. Everything just came apart. But the problem is they are so proprietary in their design that getting a graphics card in there, you'd have to use a low profile one. And there are a couple out there. Okay, you're going to lurk. That is good. And so like there's a low profile 1050 Ti, a GTX 1050 Ti that'll work in there. Because like those, a 1030, a 1050, going back to a 960, but now you're getting out of the driver range. But you could still kind of turn this this computer into a gaming computer, I mean, especially retro gaming and that. It won't be a killer laptop. It has an i5 2600 in there. You can go up to an i7 2600. I got 8 gigs of memory in it. You can go up to 32. And then you can put a low profile, low power card in there that doesn't, that would run power off the PCI slot like a 1050 Ti. And it would give you a little more juice for the money. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that.
I'm making coffee. Anybody want coffee? I'm making coffee.
Coffee this late for you, Nate?
Does anybody want coffee? Because I'm having a cup of coffee.
I'll have an iced tea with you, with you. Yeah. So I decided to replace the laptop I had doing slideshows, family slideshows in our family room with the desktop, because I had an HP 1920 by 1080 monitor on it, a 24-inch monitor, about that. So it might be a 22-inch monitor or 21-inch. An older HP one. It's still nice. It works really well. So with the Pop! OS on there, I'm like, well, let me check because it was a 2204. And it was ready for the 2404 update with the Cosmic Desktop. Let me check this out. It seemed to go okay, except that I had a 500 gig hard drive in there that I, for some reason, didn't connect because my father-in-law really didn't need it, but I left it in there. And he had a 128 gig SSD. Well, I plugged in the 500 gig spinning hard drive, and during the upgrade process, Pop installed on the what would be the backup drive. I'm like, are you what? Then the terminal wouldn't work. The store wouldn't work. So I couldn't do updates. What else? There were a couple other things that just didn't work. So it kind of like sealed the fate, you know, been hoping that the Cosmic Desktop would really start to become something. And it's still not ready. Now, whether that computer was able to handle it and that went through the update process fine. No errors or that. So I saw a video of an old friend, not an old friend who made the video, but an old distribution, or at the time it was new. I haven't used it for a while. At the time it was between Peppermint and Linux Lite. And so I watched the video on it, and it's on 2604 already. And they've done a lot of customizing. It's a desktop HP compact 8200 small form factor. Oh, so simple, so beautiful to work on. You know, latch for the top, and the power source would fold back, and the optical drives would fold forward, and it was so easy to pop off everything if you needed it to take it apart. So you could do, you know, the thing you can't do with this case, because it was all proprietary with HP, I guess you could kind of hack it, but try to get a small form factor motherboard in there and a new power source. Because the power source is only 230 watts on this thing. And there are some hacks out there for that, but so I was going to install Endeavor XFCE on it, and I thought, well, you know, this Linux Lite is looking good, and I'm looking to maybe go back just for streaming an Ubuntu-based system that right now would still be on X11, so I can get some things to work on OBS and Linux again, at least for a short time. Because I know XFCE is on the path to run into Wayland. Because I don't think the Ceph issue or the Ceph team is going to update it anytime soon. They're getting closer, but it's just not a priority for them. And because of what Wayland does with the desktop and that and the portal, it just makes it difficult. So they've done some more customizing to Linux Lite. It's probably one of the best XFCE customizations I have seen in a while. But boy, that ended up being a challenge. So, you know, I have Zorin installed on my system. I was going to check that out. OBS runs worse on it than on Endeavor. And there's some other issues that I didn't particularly like with Zorin, like if you want to install a deb package it goes through their store. And it seems to not always pick up the dependencies. So I ended up installing GDebi in there, and it picked up all the dependencies fine. Well, I figured, I like the look of it. I guess they also have developed a custom kernel for it. But boy, I had trouble installing it on the HP 8200. For some reason, it wouldn't partition right. It was failing at the boot partition. And I normally don't manually partition. I just let the installer do it for me. But I ended up having to do I had to do a root partition and then a root partition or a home partition where all the root stuff would be filed. You know, I don't do home root and all this extra stuff. It's boot and it's home, you know, or root. So once I did the manually partition, it installed fine. But somewhere in the recent updates or whatever, I don't know why the developer would change it. But did you ever have the problem where you were installing something, you know, like a system, and the pub key had changed, and then you have to go through all the steps of downloading, you know, getting the pub key back in? I remember that happening way back when. It happened on Peppermint once, but we had the option of when Mark was still around to, you know, he told us how to fix it, and then it happened. I think on Pop for whatever reason. So I had to do a lot of looking up, and you know, use wget to get the key. I finally got that right, because I couldn't update anything. And then you couldn't update the mirror or one of the Ubuntu things because the Linux Lite website was down. What should have been a simple 1, 2, 3. Now, I don't know if it was particular to that, those versions of HP and that had a early version of, you know, of EFI. Because in legacy mode, I couldn't get a USB to boot. But manually partitioning the drives and that helped, and I got that installed. And then I had trouble getting, I had reformatted that 500 gig backup drive. And because I was going to turn it into where you see the nice big photos on a 1920 by 1080 monitor of family pictures. And I put my account on it and started downloading right from Google Photos. So all those went on the big 500 gig hard drive. And I installed Variety Wallpaper Changer on there. But that was all a bit of a challenge. It's been a challenging couple of months for me on Linux, and the one kind of saving grace has been in Windows. I hadn't had any real issues on Windows. But then I did have my own power source issue, and I think that is what really did the damage to the S8 that I use as a Droid cam. But the touchscreen, it was already cracked, but I think it overheated so much that the touchscreen started leaking and stopped working. Sometimes it's never ending with computers. So I look forward to tomorrow when I'm going to do geoguessing and not have to worry about, hopefully, about any computers. Um, I wanted to put a clock on that too, so like the pictures and then the clock would be at the bottom, and it would be a conky because that's what I had on the laptop. Now I was able to uh, copy conkeys from MX Linux from one of their files folders from one of their websites, but I couldn't get Conky Manager to work for Ubuntu. It's under a PPI, and the PPAs out there are so old and they don't work anymore. On Linux, on Endeavor OS, well, of course, it's in the AUR and it still works, and that's how I installed the Conky Manager on the Endeavor desktop. So I had kind of create a Conky file in the Gotham style clock, and I did use ChatGPT to help me. Did some vibe coding. The horrors. So now I got a nice clock on there, and it's looking good. But I'm kind of done. Hopefully nothing else goes wrong this week, or I have to fix anything. I just want to stream and have fun. I don't want to have to rant and rage. I don't want to have to do this. Ow! I'm doing too much of this. What a boomer. So how's work going, Nate? Work going good? You in a good spot? Me, I'm not working at all. I got my garden. I keep forgetting to take a picture of my garden. There's rain this week. This rain and the thunder, the lightning. The what is it like? The ozone from the lightning is really good for tomato plants, and all of a sudden they started kicking up really good. I got 2 beefsteak tomato plants. I got a big boy, and then I tried it's a girly girl or something like that. Not as big as the beefsteaks. And then I have 2 cherry tomato plants. Then I have a green pepper, 2 green peppers, an orange pepper, and a red pepper. But the orange or yellow or did I get a yellow one too? They never change colors for me. I think that the growers don't know which ones are which. And then a couple of jalapenos. And this year I went with a hot banana pepper last year, and those were hotter than the jalapenos. And then planted some green onion seeds. And then in starting pots, my wife had gotten some seed from the library. They did a seed exchange that they have at the beginning of the season. And I actually planted seed for 5 more pepper plants. and 5 basil plants. I love basil. Basil's pretty easy to grow. You're working on deploying new access points in the Michigan facility, 38 in total. I have no idea what that means. No. That's why you're the man, Nate. You are the man. Did you ever think when you were offered this position that it would be... I assume it's going pretty well for you. I know you're not a complainer like me. I don't hear you talk bad about it and that. And you always seem pretty enthusiastic and you always got great ideas. I hope it's just something that, you can continue on with. Do you have to have AI conversations with the owners of that? Is that, something that they might want to do or have done? Let's see. I'm going to change up the music here. This is a little too smoothing. Soothing, not smoothing. Let's check out Synth Arcade Radio. But anyway, I got this, so the gardens, I got all my stuff going for the garden. And then we had gotten some raspberry plants a couple years ago. And the first year we had them, they did pretty well. At least the raspberries we got to eat that the birds didn't eat. It wasn't a lot. And they started taking over. I had the garden in another spot, and they started taking over the garden. So I trimmed them down. And I probably trimmed them down incorrectly. And the last couple of years, well, they did again. I put them in another spot 2 years ago, and they did pretty well. And but the squirrels was able to get to them, and the birds. So all of last year, I moved them to another spot. They grew well, but never fruited, never flowered. This year, oh my God, it's flowering like crazy. So hopefully we can get some raspberries before the birds get them. I can't stop the squirrels from getting to them, but I do have a fence around so the rabbits can't get to them. Because I know we have a family of rabbits under our shed in the back. My son has a bird feeder outside. We have it off the shed. So we get all sorts of, birds, and even the ducks come in. There's a duck family. They got some eggs, I think, of my neighbors under their deck that they come and eat. The mom is a pig. She just sits there and eats, and the male is just like, eh. I bought myself a tiller this year, an electric tiller. We are in we are concert looking currently. Looking at new technologies, AI is something that we are incorporating in certain areas that makes sense, but it's not broadly useful. And you do enjoy your job very much. There are always new challenges, something else to tackle, a new problem that requires a unique solution. I enjoy it. Very good, Nate. Very good. It's always good you can enjoy your job. I mean, to a certain extent. I mean, I spent 42 years in retail. Of course, I didn't have much else of anything else to go to. I could have gone to another retailer and all that. I never went to college. I did go to trade school. I had thought to become an auto mechanic, and I got sidetracked into management, working at a dealership, and went on from there. But I mean, they helped pay for a house. I got a wife out of the deal. But I see what my manager friends are going through now. And now that I'm out and I don't look at what's happening with just me, I'm so glad I'm out. But now my wife, she took on a supervisor position at the library she works at. It's a good raise, a good time. And I know she's very capable. She never really wanted to be a boss, but it came at an opportune time. And she'll be complaining, like, oh, the schedule. And it's what I hate at making schedules. I would always be behind on my schedules because of lack of help and all that. And I just look at her and she looks at me, she goes, oh, this is stuff you talked about all the years you worked at? Yeah, it is. But I see now, there are, I wish at times that I had called it quits or went on to something else. I mean, the pay wouldn't have been there. I actually in retail towards the end, I was getting paid really well because of my 42 years. New managers were making half of what I made. So that was a good thing. But man, the giving up the hours and having to cover for people and having poor leadership and but now I look at it and it's like, man, I don't miss any of that. And I go visit a couple of my friends. Steve, you want to come back? Nope, not the way the company is gone because Walgreens is back in September 1st. They went private. They were bought by an equity firm. And there's a 5-year plan, and we will see after 5 years what happens with Walgreens. And they're closing stores left and right, especially in rough areas and such. And I'm just glad I don't have to deal with that. I tell my wife, if you want me, I'll find something a couple days a week, but I struggle with my back. I struggle. But we're in a pretty decent spot financially, as long as the powers that be don't mess too much with Social Security and Medicare. Right now, they got to bug up their ass about Medicaid. And, they're so worried about fraud, but yet they're ripping us off left and right. That's good iced tea. Let's see what else is happening. You have to admit, sometimes my previous injuries of my back come back to bother me from time to time. Lately, I've been doing pull-up bar hangs to try to stretch things out. Not saying you should do that, but it's been helping me. Well, it was to the point, and I found a real good specialist. He actually was was it Midwestern sports rehabilitation. He used to be on one of the teams that would take care of the Bulls and the Blackhawks. This guy is pretty good in his field. I got very lucky that I found him. And he didn't put, I had one doctor that was ready to do surgery on my back. And Walgreens had this thing that any major surgery you had to go through. They stopped it. And that's how I ended up finding the new back doctor. But I'm glad they had stopped. I was pissed off at first, but I'm glad they had stopped it. Because this guy found so much more with my back. My 3, 4, and 5 are just totally bone on bone and arthritic. I have a crack at the base of my pelvis, or the back end of the pelvis near my spine. And it was like, if we do this surgery, what mobility you don't have now, you will lose even more when your back is with the support. And you'll be back probably every couple of years for some more surgery. And I'm like, oh. So I'm either going to hurt from my back or I'm going to hurt from surgery. And I try to stretch, and sometimes it seems to aggravate it more. My weight doesn't help. I don't eat bad. Not a lot of sugary stuff and things like that. We cook at home. Lots of salads and that. But I can't exercise. Like I was walking. I miss bike riding. I don't know. Otherwise, I'm relatively healthy. I don't have diabetes. I don't have high blood pressure. I don't have cholesterol. My blood pressure has been coming up a little bit. Not on any maintenance medication whatsoever. And I'm going to be 70 years old. Had the carpal tunnel surgery, which has done nothing for my thumb. I still have no feeling in my thumb, or barely any feeling, and my forefinger. Thankfully, I really didn't pay for anything on this. $25,000 worth of surgery and nothing. Thank you, Medicare. I should probably look at maybe finding my doctor again. I don't know. I just don't know if it is good at when you're in your, going on 70 and getting something like back surgery. I don't know. I just don't know, Nate. I don't know what to do. But I try to stay healthy. I'm more concerned about if I lose my ability, because this is carpal tunnel, and then this is arthritic. I have a hard time. I can't really close that finger, but at least on this hand, I can make a nice O. On this hand, because of the exercise I'm doing, I'm getting better, but I can barely touch. Whereas with this hand, I can touch all my fingers to my thumb. So I can still do live long and prosper with my left. I can't. I can't. I can't open my fingers like that, just barely. And I can touch these two, but I can't touch the next two. And I do these hand exercises and I'm not a doctor, but you did stay at a Holiday Inn once, right? So I can provide so I can't provide medical advice. All I do know for certain, don't stop or you stop, as it were. Yep. I mean, I got up on the ladder the other day and I was repairing a gutter. I got to get higher up because the gutter above that, higher up on the house, is leaking. Mowing the lawn is a challenge. I used to mow my lawn in 45 minutes. Now it takes me an hour and a half because I got to stop every once in a while. My neighbor goes, Steve, hire a service. Enjoy your retirement. I go, no, this is what you're supposed to do when you retire. I'm not overly picky about my lawn. We have it dethatched every year and aerate it, and then I put down fertilizer, and I'll try to throw down some seed. I will forever be young to you. I'm always young in my head. I'm always this awkward. I always feel like when I was 17 years old and just starting to come out of my my shell, as my mom would say. You know how many times I hear, "Oh, Steve, you must have been a stud in high school." Nope. I was a dweeb in high school. Big dweeb. I was a big introvert. But with that introvert stuff, if something, I'm happy, I'm okay being by myself. I was hoping to meet some of my friends more, but most of them are not retired yet. I did go out with my brother-in-law's on Friday. That was nice. And then my buddy's having a retirement party for his wife in a couple of weeks, so I'm going to go to that. I'll see a lot of my friends there. But I had one of my best friends just stop. We've known each other for 50 plus years, and will barely give me the time of day. It happens, I guess. He's a good guy. I miss him. I don't know what happened. Maybe I pissed him off somehow or something. I don't know. I'm thinking of changing my room around, even though I just set this up this way. Because, like, the closet behind me is, and then the door out of here are not really fun things to look at. And I don't want to run my, I don't want to do a green screen anymore. And I don't want to have to run my my NVIDIA background removal. Although it works pretty good, but it can't, and it doesn't use a whole lot of CPU in that, but it does when I'm rendering 2 streams in that. I don't know. Maybe I'll put something, instead of a green screen up there, I'll do something green on the door so I can do some stuff from behind. But on this side, I have the window behind me. I have it looks more like you see. I got this. Where is it? Right there. Right there. Back there. I should do it that way. That's how I should do it. So that shelf back, I have a bookcase there, and then right next to it, I have my gaming station. Actually, it's mostly my son's games in that, but on it is the Switch 1, Switch 2, Wii U, and then three retro Super Nintendo, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and Sega, which I've played before. But I'd have to patch. It's a good thing I still got some of the paint left on that. I like my setup. It looks pretty good. Like my decks. If you have tablets, you can save yourself some money. This tablet's running Touch Portal, which is a great way to run. It even works on Linux. Touch Portal comes in a app image, but the only and it works the same way. There's some slight functionality that's different in the software for the Linux side. In Windows, you can plug in a USB and connect it that way, so it's that much faster. But you have all sorts of other software that you can hook up. GIMP, you can hook up Photoshop, you can hook up Spotify. You can do all sorts of stuff with these, and it's only $14.99 forever to unlock it. I use one called Stream Control, but it was not customizable. And then this is my old Samsung S2, Galaxy S2. So big difference. This is running Android 17. This is running Android 7. But all I needed is for the browser, because then this acts as it's a web page browser source for my streamer bot. And that works. This is where instead of having to go through and run any commands in that, I can just touch a button. And my setup's pretty much the same between the Linux and Windows. So it's the same deck and the same setup in that. You can also install these. So once it's, you purchase the Touch Portal, you can also put it on your phone as long as it's the same. As long as it's this, the same sign-in. And I told you about this too on the Touch Portal, Nate. You can do the Lacars, the Star Trek Enterprise computer look. Oh my gosh. Time is it? Almost 8 o'clock? Even though the air conditioner is on, the allergies still come on. Excuse me. I may have shot myself in the foot with painting the walls this dark espresso brown. Ceiling's still white, so it doesn't reflect the light as well. It kind of absorbs it really good. So like these LED lights that I have, you bought it? What, you bought Touch Portal? It's a great thing, and you can do different decks. Oh my God, Mark Ulmer. Oops, my audio's not working there. Well, hello, Mark. How are you? So normally I plays a walk-on music. Oops, no, that was speaker buds. Set up the wrong stuff here. So how are you, Mark? It's been a while. I should just put a mute button on here. I think I'm going to add a mute button. I'm going to add a mute button to my touch portal, and I'm going to call it Nate. And speaking of mute, Nate, do you know on your stream you have the lowest volume of all? You are, I'm going to say, close to half the volume of half the guests on your Discord. I sent a couple of messages in the chat, but I think you just ignored me. So as soothing as the espresso bring brown paint is, and I like it, I think it doesn't really, what's the word I want, add to help with light reflection. And I have pretty decent LED lights. But again, I'm looking at, and it looks so much better on Linux on Windows than it does on Linux. Yeah. So Mark is another one that enjoys his job a bunch. Very good. Yeah, because I'll listen to you. I put you on my big 55-inch TV, and then I'll have you on my tablet too. But I lower the volume on the tablet and just use it for the chat. Question: do you ever look at your streams after you're done? I know you feel like you don't want to watch yourself, but it's I found out that if I don't adjust my walk-on sound, my SpeakerBot StreamerBot setup here, if I don't fix that, like I usually do it before the stream for whatever reason. So I have audio issues, both Linux and Windows. But often in Windows, I have to reconnect the audio that's coming from others. So I have Now I heard it because it comes over my regular audio, but it didn't go out to the chat, which you guys should hear it too. So I, just a thought. It's your stream. I'm just a little guy here. Sometimes go through parts of your stream afterwards, not right afterwards. Do it the next day if you can. Watch about 15 minutes. Listen to the sound, see how the setup is going. It's things that kind of help me. I know sometimes you have an issue with stream quality because of your internet and that. I understand that. You usually skip through to find certain stopping points and putting in the chapters. But yeah, you have I might have older, but your volume is a bit lower than most of your guests. So Mark, what have you been up to? Besides work and loving your job? You still into the Linux side quite a bit? Still doing your Linuxing? I bitch a lot about Linux, but I still like. I mean, it's my main daily driver, as people like to say, right? I stream, like right now I'm streaming on Windows. And why do I stream on Windows? Because a lot of things work that I can't get work on Linux. All the VSTs and, no workarounds. You're going to Self on Friday. Well, have a good time. My wife asked me the other week if I, still would like to go to one of those events, and I probably would. I don't know. I'm not, again, like I'm not in that community, I'm not in that community anymore, really. I mean, I check up on Nate and stuff like that, but I don't do my Linux Sunday coffee clutch that I used to do and all that stuff. I don't make any videos really, except for maybe OBS. I will not do distro challenges anymore. I just will not. If something tickles my fancy, I'll look at it, but I don't have the time to look at something that's not much different than the other, the last one. Yes, the ALE meetings. That's right. You did the ALE meetings every Sunday. Stopped into the Linux Saloon last month. That's right. You did do those. And then you're finding me on YouTube, but my main streaming, actually, I multi-stream. I'm on Twitch and YouTube. Twitch, I'm affiliate, and I make a little bit of money. Whereas I'm not monetized on YouTube because I can't get to the 1,000 mark. I realize that it's my content. I've never gotten close. I've never gotten past. I've never gotten to.
Someone has joined the chat on YouTube.
Speak of never. Hey, Carmine. What's up, buddy? But my main streaming now is aimed towards Twitch and doing the fun stuff like the explosions and all that. And I'll talk Linux and all that, but that's just not my focus anymore. Yeah, well, we had I made Mexican food last night, and then tonight we're gonna finish up the meat, and we're gonna have taco salads. And that's about the explosion that I almost had this morning. So, my wife asked me, "What what would you like to do?" And I appreciate that, Mark. The thing is, and the big difference is too. So on the YouTube side, there's no background music. So you see, I have music playing, but you're not hearing anything. On Twitch, you are, because a lot of stuff that I play is technically copyrighted. You can get away with it on Twitch during the stream, but then if you go back on my VOD on Twitch, you won't hear the music. Nate says, honestly, I don't do distro challenges. I just dip my toe in them and see what I think. Mostly Linux is Linux for me at this point. Exactly. And I find an interesting niche. One solves, solving edge cases most interesting in that. So, and I also use StreamerBot. So StreamerBot is this fantastic program that you have a work queue and you can do all sorts of actions in that. And I have a tablet that runs on it, so I can run it off of here. You can run it through commands in the chat. You'll see down at the bottom down there, you'll see a scroll bar. It has all the commands. And it'll be things like boo, or no, that was embarrassing. Or so I am up to, on Windows, I am up to 34 plugins. And on Linux, I have 31. And here is, now, majority of the stuff I made, so this is like, I'll just won't go through everything. But this is made by a streamer and a streamer bot person, Mustache Maniac, which this sends when I'm on Windows. It sends a message to Discord that I'm live, and then when I'm done, it deletes it. I could pause cues in that. This one was made by a streamer bot Twitch guy, Tom A, out of Germany. And this sends messages to my Blue Sky. It posts, pins it, and then deletes it when I'm done. So normally if you see it on Blue Sky, I'm streaming. Then I have redeem actions, and then this whole thing. I created all these. And they can be as simple or as complex as they are. I created, so like when someone comes into who is that creepy guy? I don't know. I think it was a friend of Carmine's, actually. So I have some first word shout outs, and now it's getting particular. So you saw for Carmine, it did a shout out. Otherwise, it greets you. bunch of cool stuff that really automates actions for streaming, and you could use this for more simpler things too. I am testing. I haven't really used it because I don't do guests anymore. But another streamer friend, his name is Boom So Much. And Mark, if you noticed, if I don't think I really have anybody on, actually no one's watching. If they're lurking, if you're on Twitch, please say hi or send a lurk. That's fine if you lurk. So if you send a message on Twitch, it then through my bots throws a message onto YouTube. If you send a message on YouTube, then it throws a bot a message to Twitch. So that way Twitch and YouTube can talk to each other. Now that kind of used to be against terms of agreement with Twitch. So was putting chat on the screen and that, but I think they finally realized that it doesn't matter. I've been doing it for over a year. I think for some reason my fortune doesn't work on YouTube. That was on one of my to-do lists, and I kind of forgot about it. I sure wish you would do guests like your old buddy Cubicle Nate. So yeah, sometimes it's a little bit, there's a damn lot going on here. And this is now what I do instead of looking at distros and customizing and stuff like that. Over on the Linux side, so there's also like simple things like voice control. In Windows, it's through the Windows system. So if I go computer left monitor.
Here's the left monitor, Stephen.
It switches over. It uses Windows voice system to work with StreamerBot. And then there's a co-partner called SpeakerBot that sends TTS and that to the stream. And on Windows, you can use a lot of online. You can use Google Voices. You can use Monster TTS and all that stuff. Computer main view.
Here is the main view, Stephen.
Most Linux systems don't have it. You can build it, and I did. I built a voice activation system with Vosk. We should do a senior tech podcast or something. That would be cool. Nate tries to keep the chat going when he can hang out with Steve. The thing about guests, if it's I will probably never really just do an open video chat, because when I was doing mine, I had a lot of you guys that would show up that would add a lot of good content to the stream. But then I would get people that I have this thing about people not adding anything, just sitting there, taking up retail space just to be a part of it. And what anybody does with their stream, that's fine. It's just not me anymore. But a streamer friend of mine, Boom So Much, who I got sidetracked, does a cross chat. He does a lot of other stuff. And right now it's only for Windows, but he created this setup called feeds, where you can take the individual video settings from Zoom and add them individually to OBS. You won't find it in OBS plugins because he had other help, but he also partially vibe coded it. And the OBS team is so against any vibe coding, any AI. I get it. I know a couple of plugin developers, and they have made some of the greatest plugins between Exeldro and Finite Singularity that you will find. They are the most used plugins. They're both in programming for a long time. But even to check out his stuff, and I kind of get that, you know. So Boom's feeds was poo-pooed because he vibe coded, but you can find it on the Zoom Marketplace. He said that was a passion thing for him. And then, so here's my OBS setup. So also he created the source transition plugin again, which is you will not find on the OBS source in that. So we all know that in OBS we have these show and hide transitions. Well, in most cases you have to go through this twice for each one. One to set the transition, and two to set the timing. Well, he created this plugin that when you click on a source like this, you can change your transition and your seconds, you know, your timing in one spot. Good ideas. But I did some vibe coding for my Linux stuff, which none of it will ever be on it's not a plugin or that, but between HTML and stuff like that. I could probably take the time to learn coding, but I'm going to be 70. I'm going to use that excuse. Yeah, Cubicle Nate is a window dressing boy.
Steve, someone has joined the chat on Twitch.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back.
Hey, Mark. Ubuntu Linux sysadmin. But my music player, which right now needs to be burped, that I vibe coded. My lower third I vibe coded. My voice activation system using Vosk and that on Linux. An old account name, you still had it? It's a view, it helps. See, when I discovered Twitch, now I've been streaming, I got some anniversaries coming up this year. I think it's the 21st. So old you had to reset the password? Yeah. That's relatively simple. So I think it's the 21st or the 24th is my 8-year anniversary for posting my very first YouTube video on customizing the Peppermint desktop to make it look like Chrome OS. Then come in October, just about a week apart, I got my 8th anniversary coming up for my first stream on YouTube. And then I'll have my 4th year coming up for Twitch. At first, I was scared of Twitch because it was like for like kid game. It's not like that. It's not. And then everybody I know a certain YouTuber refuses to come on Twitch because he thinks it's all big-chested girls. I wish it was. I would love to have that background. But Twitch is made for streamers. It really is. It is just a great platform. StreamerBot works super well because the API for Twitch is so open. and it gives you such flexibility as a streamer to do entertainment and be entertaining on your streams. And some of it's good, some of it's bad. I make a lot of my own stuff, and I have fun doing that. And then through wine, or I do it through bottles, StreamerBot works on Linux that way. Yeah, there's a lot of those, because Twitch has pool/hot tubs where the girls can wear bikinis and that. And some of them wear very little and barely get away with it. That was in the forefront on Twitch for a while. It's not anymore because a lot of people complained about it but these girls were making a lot of money for Twitch. Regardless and all that, Twitch is still great. YouTube's API is a lot more closed and it's a lot harder to get information out of it. But I do have some stuff I can do the shout outs and stuff like that with no problems. You got the big music now. Let me burp my music player. There we go. Sometimes it doesn't catch up. Every once in a while, Nate says he'll watch a streamer on Twitch. There is one guy I like to watch outside of you. Well, thank you. And you will see. Yeah, I call it. I burp it. Yeah, come on, baby, burp, and then the image comes back. Well, it leaves a mess inside of OBS. But the mess is going to be left in Windows. So, oh wait, I have Windows open, so the mess goes out the window. And never mind. But I really finally got into StreamerBot. I mean, Twitch and using all that. And then there's a pretty good community. So I've gotten to know a lot of streamers on Twitch, and they also do multi-stream on YouTube that do stuff with StreamerBot. You want to see someone that's amazing, there's a guy on Twitch called the Sushi Dragon. And he lives out in California near LA. He's got his own little warehouse, and he does all sorts of mobile. He's got a robot he takes on the road with him. And as he's walking and the robot's, got the camera on him, if he stops, the robot stops. Once he starts moving, the robot stops moving. But it's the Sushi Dragon. He is amazing. And there's a lot of streamers about that. Do you know any busty streamers about my age? I can maybe recommend one or two. But they do, some of them do this. Right now, it seems like the girls on Twitch are doing this dominatrix thing. I don't. That's their thing, I guess. But I know two of the top developers for OBS, Exeldro and Finite. Finite streams usually Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. He's usually earlier in the morning. But he's also developing. You don't want to have to disappoint another woman? Nate, you don't have to look for Miss Right. Just look for Miss Right now, So if you've noticed in tools now, you have the plugin manager in OBS, if you're using OBS. And Finite Singularity he's the one that's working on this for OBS. and it shows all your sources. And eventually you'll be able to update and know what plugins needed to be updated from here. He's working on that. This is going to be a big thing in keeping up with your plugins in OBS. And it works in Linux too, so you have that. Should have that in your Linux tool, in your toolbar. But yeah, two of the, we'll say the goats of OBS plugins, Finite Singularity and Exeldro. Exeldro is one of the biggest. There's a great song from SR71. What, Miss Right? Not Miss Right, Miss Right Now? That one? I saw that Cloudflare message. I just seen the headline that Cloudflare CEO says bot traffic has surpassed the human traffic for the first time. Yeah. Yeah, we got bots watching bots. But this is what I like doing this. This is what I like to do now, you know. And I still use Linux on a daily basis, but for streaming, I stopped using Linux for about a year and a half, almost 2 years. Because I got tired because of the way I stream and what I want to use. And I had to either come up with workarounds or not use it at all. And that's not how I want to stream. I have a friend that once said, if I can't use it on Linux, I don't need it. I don't remember who exactly that was. He's in the chat. But, or something to that effect. It's like a grocery store or a fresh market here called Caputo's. They have on their produce wall, if you want it, we got it. If you can't find it, you don't need it. But this is what I like to do. I like to build this. So when I decided to really start building my stuff back up on Endeavor OS. Oh, was that you, Nate? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, maybe it was. Maybe it was. All right. Let you rejoin. If you can't get what you need on Linux, I don't want it. The cost is too great for me. And that's your choice. That's, you know, I look at all this stuff as it's just a frickin' tool. Windows, Linux, I don't care about the politics. I don't care about who does what. If the tool works for me, I'm going to use it. You use Windows enough to professionally to be absolutely sick of it? Yeah, I guess. I'm here for streaming. I set up my stream stuff in that. I keep up with updating my stuff, but I don't daily go on Windows for, video, content and all that. That's what I got Linux for. But then streaming and the differences of distributions and OBS and installing it, and I got a pretty decent install on Endeavor OS through the AUR because the person that packages this particular OBS setup is one of the helpers over in the OBS forum. So it's not official, but they'll help support it. Flatpaks, great idea. I can't do half the stuff I want to do in a Flatpak. You've been lucky on Windows 11, but you spied the multiple reboot update process, which doesn't happen all the time. But if you're on Fedora, that does it. It does. Fedora's updates system is exactly like Windows. This old adage that, oh, well, I could do an update on Linux and I don't have to reboot. Yeah, that you can still use your system, but anything that updated doesn't get fully updated until you reboot. So no matter what, small updates of that, I always reboot. That's not an issue. Now, if you're talking, yes, Nate, you're talking servers, that is a bit different. But then again, too, you know, these people brag, oh, I've had this Ubuntu server running for like 5 years. Well, when's the last time it really got an update? Now, I know there are ways to set them up to where it will get an update and it doesn't have to be rebooted and it will refresh. I never see that, Carmine. I never see 3 or 4 time reboots. 2. Unless it happens to be really major. 4? No. I think you're hallucinating. Yeah, I think you're hallucinating. But it's always safer. Just, you know what? But there's these Linux people out there that my uptime is super important. I've not. Well, I can go by as what I see. So next thing you know, he's going to tell me that there's a flat Earth, but. But this is the stuff I like to do. I like building stuff and making stuff. I don't know how long that I'm gonna be able to do it. But how many almost 70-year-olds do you see streaming? I mean, you'll find them. And they probably do better than I do. Thank you, Mark. Glad you're enjoying yourself with OBS and streaming. Got to live your life. Rock on. Yeah, but you know, I'm gonna be a crying little baby right now, you know. But there's a lot of my followers from the Linux stuff that will not even check me out these days. That used to love me. Oh, Steve, you know, there's a certain person that is always in the Linux saloon who talks about how her and her wife, I think I just gave it away, would always watch me and how soothing I was and all that stuff. And I get it, you know, but I don't always talk OBS. Not servers, those just get forever. Windows 11 has had a whole mix. They're usually when you get the latest release. Win 11 24H2 to whatever latest 25H2. You can't recall. Well, thank you, Nate. But I just really can't. No, that's not true. You punched me. You punched me. You hit me in the jaw with an uppercut. You did. Oh, right. That was just an E punch. Yeah. Fine. Okay. It was just an E punch, not a real punch. But it felt real. It felt real. The only real punch Carmine likes is jazz funk. I know last night, Carmine, you came in, or yesterday afternoon, you came in a little towards the end. But did you catch that? That was Paul that was in the chat, Sir Seuss? Remember Paul? He was a really nice guy. He's had some bad luck with his house. But yeah, Sir Seuss, yeah, Nate, yeah, he goes by Sir Seuss now. And we have a couple of Pauls. There's one Paul that lives just north of me here. The one that used to always do the virtual cam stuff in the Big Daddy Lennox. But Sir Seuss Paul had a really bad stroke back in 2023 that he's not fully recovered from. Whenever I check your videos not live, I always give you a like so you know I watched afterward. Are you talking to me? Why, thank you, Mark. That's always appreciated. I do appreciate that. I know I don't get the views I used to in that. I think about, I actually posted a video today. It's a bit late, but it's my my setup. If you want to really see my studio setup, it is now on. There is now a stream about it. Now it's a video. Don't really have a nickname, but Spatry once called me Toaster Today. Yeah, Spatry. There was a lot. That was a great beginning. And I honestly have to say that if it wasn't for Lennox, I would not be here talking to you guys today. And now everybody goes, oh, fucking Lennox, goddamn. And I gotta also thank Carmine for letting oddballs into his Hangout, his Google Hangouts. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? But also, that did a lot for me personally. I was never a good speaker. I still probably am not a great speaker. I am much better than I was many years ago. But it just taught me how to speak. It taught me how to prepare. I became a go-to person. Late in my career. I facilitated meetings, stuff that I wouldn't have thought about doing before I did this. My wife says, "Man, I don't." Yeah, she said she notices the difference, and the big change, and it made my job a lot easier. So those of you that might be watching that don't think that they could stream in that, just do it. My God. I mean, I reposted my very first stream because I put a lot of them in private because there's a lot of Linux stuff that is just old or has no place today. Many of the XFCE stuff may still work today. But all the older Linux stuff, I put it in private, and I might bring it out once in a while. Years ago, I knew I had the so-called radio voice, so it was a bit more natural for me. Yeah, I mean, Dan, that's what I started watching your videos well before I knew you live stream, and it was your voice. And then I got to see you. No, and streaming and podcast, all that is really changing again. The pandemic spurred it on, and because people needed something to watch, now we're back out and about. And, I'm happy with getting a few of you and just be able to chat with people from around the world. I mean, England, Norway, Sweden, let's see, my son's asking me if I want a treat. They're going to Dairy Queen. Okay. Ooh. My son's 31. He still gets treats. But there's a lot of stuff that is going to be there for posterity. And, hopefully I got a good number of years left on my life. I have been preoccupied this year with the thought of I'm the same age my dad was when he passed away. Never too old for DQ treats. Yeah, I just said get me that toffee crunch bar. That's okay. I try to watch my treats, but I still need. If I'm going to have some Mexican taco salad, I'm going to need something afterwards. I got to pickle some peppers. I haven't pickled peppers in a while. My dad was born in 1923. He turned 69 in November of 91. And in March of 92, he was diagnosed with lymphoma and passed away in September of that year. It was really quick. I never knew my grandfather. My grandfather passed away at an early age, his father. So it's like, damn, it's like, I can't do the math in my head. It's terrible, right? So 1992 minus 69. So yeah, 1923. 1923, outside of Graz, Austria. Came over in 27 at 4 years old. I don't know why my grandfather and my grandmother came over. I know I have relatives over there. I'm pretty sure I still have relatives over there in Austria. I would love to be able to go there and try to find some of them. I've done some Ancestry.com, but that can get expensive. Your dad was born in 42 and died at 63? What did he say? I have all the letters he received from a young lady that lived in New York that were friends of the family that my grandmother really wanted him to marry, and she was Austrian. And those letters, because my dad was in the Pacific. He was like, he was for a short time, his division was on Guadalcanal, but his division went through the
Steve,
Philippines.
someone has joined the chat on Twitch.
Hello.
Oh my God, Lifesaver. How are you doing, bud? Thank you for the bits. That's too kind of you, sir. That is too kind of you. I hope all is well. I hope, I know you had some stuff you were talking about this morning on your stream. Mostly lurking because of headaches. Well, I do. I appreciate you saying hellos. I'm doing okay. Unfortunately, we're talking about death, and Mark's mom died at the age of 59, heavy smoker, and mortality concerns, yet I'm much healthier. Yeah. I mean, I'm at the same age my dad passed, so I'm in a much better spot. He retired and he had nothing. As far as I don't even remember any of my dad's friends, he never had a friend over. They were all my mom's friends. And I think, you see so many guys that retire that end up passing well before they should, because of having nothing. Now, I do the streaming. I don't have a lot. I'm okay. I'm an introvert at heart. You're expecting to go between 65 and 70? Well, I'm going to be 70 this year, bud. Look at this face. I'm going to be 70 this year in September. I get past that, and I'm good. My dad had passed away 5 days before my birthday that year. But I have these letters from when he was in the army and things like that, and I guess he tried to become a pilot. I went through this. It was the late 90s. I went through a phase where I was trying to do a lot of research on his time in the army and that, and I reached out to some of these message boards and talked to a handful of old soldiers at the time that didn't know my dad, but had been in that division, but then got pulled out and stuff like that. That was an interesting time. That was, I learned a lot. My dad was in the 40th, the Sunshine Division. It was a California National Guard that was activated during the war. Some interesting stuff there. I'll have to do. I know if someone likes history and that, I know I'd be interested in reading the letters and stuff like that. Very interesting stuff. She talks about she's telling my dad, we went out last night. We went to see this new singer. Maybe you heard of him, Frankie Sinatra. Your grandmothers lived in their 90s. Both told them they were ready to go. I think my grandmother passed away in her 70s. Maybe she was near 80. My father-in-law, who just passed away in April, was 85 years old. His wife's 80. She's turning 86. Her oldest sister's 90. So it's, you know, some Southern women. My dad was from Kentucky. My father-in-law was from Kentucky. My stepmother's in-law is from Alabama. But unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to go now. My wife and son will be coming home soon. And I haven't seen my wife all day. She was at the training meeting and that, and she said she took Kaz to his karate and that. So I don't want to end it on a morbid note. But Lifesaver, thank you for the bits. Thank you for stopping in. Always appreciate you guys when you guys show up. Makes me feel good. Check out Lifesaver on Twitch. I'll have to add... let me do a... do a shout out. Of course, because that shout out just actually, oh, there it goes. There it goes. There it goes. It goes to YouTube. Lifesaver has a bit to do. He's kind of on the, right? You're on the StreamerBot team a little bit. A bit. And Nate, he lives down in Texas. All right, my friends. Now, I don't rate out. That's one of the weak things that I don't do. So I am just going to say goodbye. So, computer, time to say goodbye. There we go.
Goodbye, everyone. Thanks for watching.
All right. So, tomorrow... I don't know, depending on what time I get my son to the gym and the library and that, between 3:30 and 4:30, I will be doing some geoguessing. We're going to, I do OpenGuesser. I actually had the developer of OpenGuesser on my, in my chat a couple weeks ago. But I want to thank the Ubuntu sysadmin, who is actually Mark, Lifesaver over on Twitch, and then over on YouTube, Nate, Mark again was over there, and Total OS today. So come watch me, help me find out where the fuck I am when I'm playing GeoGuessr, OpenGuesser. It's been fun. So I appreciate everybody showing up today. Thank you, Mark, Life, Nate, Carmine. Bye.